Here we are live, Buffalo Billiards. We do our thing, and more interviews coming your way. Don't forget tomorrow, free music. Friday, free music. You don't need credentials. You don't need wristbands. You got to be over 21. It is a bar after all, and I'm joined by Just Loud. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Welcome to Austin, Texas. Welcome to South by Southwest. And let's talk about all things musical and how Just Loud got its start. Where did you start recording? Why did you start making music? And what was the first instrument that you actually picked up to play?
Well, I started making music. My mom said that at 3 years old, I just stood up in front of the whole church and just started singing while the preacher was preaching. So I think I got my start there. My first situation, I signed with the management of John Legend. And
how old were you?
I think I got him first contact at age 15. And then when I turned 18, you know, you can sign the dotted line. So, but I wanted to do alternative music rather than R&B.
So why alternative? I mean, was it rock or was it alternative? Because alternative doesn't necessarily mean rock anymore. Alternative can mean a lot of. It's just like genre bending, basically.
Right. Rock. My father is a lead guitarist, and he will only play like a bunch of rock riffs in our house, Jimi Hendrix and things of that nature. So I would normally duplicate his sound, you know, through the guitar, and that's where I have the most passion. Anything with a lot of guitars and funky and edgy, that's where I belong.
And so there is definitely you like the rock, but you want that soul. Do you want the funk in there too?
I want all of it.
I was talking with a gentleman earlier who was sitting down, and I was explaining to him like my love for music comes, you know, they talk about Beatles or Elvis, and I'm Elvis because I'm a blues bass. Like I like my rock and roll with a blues bass or a funk bass, you know. So all of my likings later in life, even the metal that I listen to is blues based. The rock I listen to is blues based or has some funk or something in it. And that's kind of my background. I don't know where the hell that comes from. My father did not play guitar or anything, but I did grow up listening to a lot of Queen and a lot of Michael Jackson and stuff. So perhaps that's where it came from. I don't know. Yeah, it's that Quincy Jones influence floating around the back of my head somewhere. So what was the first time you started actually performing as Just Loud? Like when did you go, all right, I'm getting up in front of an audience and I'm going to start performing?
Well, I was that person. Every time I got an opportunity to perform, it was normally like an R&B urban setting, and I would go in and do Kings of Leon.
I was going to ask you, like, where do you find, where do you find the space where they go, he's going to, this is different.
Yeah, so every time I got an opportunity, it would be like, you know, and I've signed with other labels before, and they were always trying to, hey, he's an urban guy, hey, he's R&B. And I will always, no, I'm not. My vocals is more, you know, in your face. I like to, I don't know. I like the edge of it.
So when you signed with John Legend's management, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Were they expecting you to be an R&B artist,
Absolutely.
or were they like, we don't care what you do, just make some great music?
No, it was R&B. That's where you belong. And I sit down for 6 years. I went on a strike, and I refused to do any music unless it was rock or alternative.
And were you still with them that entire time, or did you finally just say, nah,
I was still stuck in the situation the entire time.
And are you still in the
I'm out of the situation.
I was just saying, you must be out because you wouldn't be calling stuck. You'd be like, I'm privileged to still be with Mr. Legend, but you're out.
I'm out.
All right.
Completely.
So how did you find your way to a record label? How did you find, you know, when did the offers start coming in? Was it management first, then some shows happened, and then some online relation, or what happened?
Well, the truth is I don't know if I can say it.
You can say it. Okay. I'm your friend. Don't worry about the World Wide Web. They won't tell anybody, I'm sure of it.
So my weed man, from when I was living in New York, I never would play any of my music. You know, when a guest would come over to the house, he heard my music, and I told him that R&B and urban is not what I do, and he was like, oh, so you do the rock type of shit? And I was like, yeah. So he had a person in mind. He introduced me to his friend, and his friend introduced me to my ex-manager, and I was able to link up with 11-7, one of the biggest alternative labels.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, the rest is history.
I always try to tell local musicians that always want to make it big. Everyone wants to make it big, but there's always that element of luck. Like, it's just one little thing. It always comes into play. Right. Talent's got to be there, but there's always an occasion that luck plays a huge role in things falling into place.
Right.
So it was your weed guy.
Yeah.
I hope you still, I hope you pay premium dollars nowadays just to kind of pay it forward.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you may have paid premium dollars the entire time, you just didn't realize it.
Yeah.
All right, so I was told that as you're doing South by stuff, you basically, you're backtracking most of your stuff, and then you have your vocals. Do you normally travel with a band? Do you have a full band that's a full-time band, or do you kind of hire people and bring them in?
Well, I had a band, and you know, I toured my first time with Dirty Heads.
Oh, cool.
And through that touring process, I kind of realized, I'm so sorry, but I realized that friends are not the ideal thing to hire for gigs, like, you know, for the type of thing that I want to do. So right now I'm just like getting myself out there even more, you know, not starting from scratch, but I want people to see me for who I am first, and maybe the band later.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, are you venturing out? You're a solo artist at this point. Would you consider yourself a solo artist?
I was always solo artist.
Okay.
But you know, I think at that time when I had the band, you know, everyone have their different personalities, and I'm a very cool, humble. I don't care where I'm at, and you know, some people got a little Hollywood too early, so.
Happens quick, man.
Yeah.
Happens quick. Few gigs, a couple of catering, a couple of cheese trays. They
Right.
think they're God.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of cheese I eat. I don't eat this kind of cheese.
Right.
It's a free cheese tray, man.
Right.
Eat the cheese tray.
Exactly.
So okay, you're touring as a solo artist at that point, and so I'm assuming that when you're making your music, do you collab with anyone? Do you collab with producers, or do you go, no, this is my show. This is a Just Loud show, and I'm gonna have it sound the way I want.
I love to collab, but often I find myself alone in the studio. I'm a loner, so I mean, I'm open to collabs, but I don't get that much of collabing. Not in Atlanta for what I would like to do.
And that's where you're presiding currently,
Yep.
is in Atlanta, but you're saying that you enjoyed your time in New York City.
Yeah.
So is it just because the music's more diverse, or the people are more diverse, or the minds are more open? What's the difference?
I think the difference is, I mean, I was in New York for about 10 years. It's like you can just get off the train and go straight into a pub and be able to put your leather jacket on and feel good.
Right.
I don't get that opportunity in Atlanta.
What do you do in your free time? Like when you're not making music, like where would I find Just Loud on a random Wednesday evening at a bar, having a drink, watching a game, or sitting at home watching Netflix?
I don't even watch TV. The most that you would see me is studio, home, Twilight Zone, and I Love Lucy. That's it.
Keep it simple, man. Makes life easier that way. Keep stuff simple. So how many times did we get an opportunity to see you here in Austin, Texas this week?
I think I'm doing like four
shows? Not too shabby. That's smart.
Yeah.
Smart. All the first timers are like, I've got 12 shows lined up in the next 2 days. I mean, that's a horrible
Oh,
idea.
yeah.
It's never going to work out well.
Yeah.
And you'll be here tomorrow afternoon performing, correct? Do we know the time? No? Not here?
Not yet.
I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to keep up myself. Do you know the actual official time of your showcase?
I'm doing the BMI showcase and StubHub.
StubHub. Okay. All the information, I'm assuming, is always online. Thank you so
Yes.
much for stopping by, man.
Thank
It was
you,
great to
Toby.
finally meet you. I dig the sound. I was going to try and get into the whole Debbie Harry thing, but I'm sure you've been asked. I'm not going to bother with that. Debbie Harry is in the video, by the way, kids, and she appears on the single that is heard on 101X. I'm not going to bother with you that now, but it's very cool. We'll talk later.
Thank you.
Just Loud, thank you so much for stopping by. More action. We've got more people stopping by. I'm tired too, I know, but just hang with us. We'll make it all work out. So we'll be back from down here at Buffalo Billiards, 6th and Brazos.